sure it counts. Like, if this dude's bigger than you, and you're standing there face to face, and you know it's about to go down, you throw that first punch and you make it count. Because if he stands, your ass is done. If he's still standing, so
Yeah, I mean, you
basically
better make
say
it
knock him
count.
out. Yeah, he's like, hit him. If you're gonna fight this big dude, you better get him down to one punch and then run for your life.
Oh my gosh, yeah. No, my dad never taught me to throw the first punch, probably because I'm a girl, but, you know,
I
just
tell my kids if somebody's acting dumb to you in school, give them 3 warnings like, "Hey, stop." And if you don't stop, tell him one more time. If he doesn't stop again, tell the teacher. If he doesn't stop, you have my full permission to
Mm.
go old school and see him square in the nose. It's funny because one day I got off work, my wife calls me. She says, "I'm picking up Mia from school. She got in trouble today." I was like, "What? For what?" And she goes, "She kicked some boy in the stomach." And I was like, "What did he do? Why? Like he probably deserved it because Mia wouldn't kick somebody in the stomach unless
Right,
he deserved it." And so,
right.
anyways, that's kind of how I perspective. That's it. Depends on the situation.
It
So
does, yeah, it depends. Oh god. I think that scares me, like, when I have kids, what am I gonna teach them? But
McDonald's throwing the first punch all season. There you go. Who's gonna
there's
throw
a
the first punch? Mike McDonald will throw the first punch. You're cut. You're cut. You're
mm,
fired.
yeah, Mike McDonald, as y'all know, what a season it was. Lots of questions, lots of play call questions. We ended the season at 10-7. KJ Wright predicted the Seahawks would have 10 wins, and he was right. KJ Wright was right. But with that, I mean, we didn't make the playoffs. Out of how many 10-7 teams made the playoffs, we were one that did not. But like you said, Mike threw the first punch and he said, "Thank you, but thank you for your service for this year, but we no longer need your service, Ryan Grubbs."
Nope. And he man, that's just crazy. I want to say
Mhm.
though, we predicted at some point we were feeling optimistic about 11-win season.
We were.
There were a couple games we were just talking about that the Giants, I felt like we should have won that game. All these shoulda, coulda, woulda games.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, kudos to Mike McDonald for his first season, 10 wins.
Right.
Looking back, it's, Pete Carroll, his first season with us, it was a losing season, and we made the playoffs that year. That was crazy. That was a beast quick run, I think. But
Yeah.
here we are, a whole nother scheme over a decade later. Young Mike is in there making noise, and he's making noise in a fashionable way. I love it. I freaking love it. And
Mhm.
honestly, this is probably the one thing that I think I don't know if it was truly missing, but it seemed as if during the later in the Carroll era, for whatever reason, we just couldn't there was no cutthroat, to
There was
him.
no letting people go. It was just
I didn't feel that. I didn't feel that.
yeah,
Now,
right.
whew, you come to Seattle, you're coming to Seattle with full intention to compete for a starting or a high paying position on the staff. Because if you don't perform, bye bye. I mean, Artie Burns, shit, how many times we
Yeah.
cut his ass? He's back again. He got another pick. Came out. I was like, whoa, he's back on our team. He got an interception
Right.
last week. I was like, hell yeah. So
No, but when Mike sent that text in our group chat today, I think you and I both were like, "What?" But not like we weren't surprised. We were talking about it all season, the questionable play call. I mean, like I said, when I had to find the games on YouTube or on random radios and it was the opposing teams commentators talking, they all said the same thing about Ryan Grubbs. He's bringing his college playbook and it's not really working out and the fans aren't a fan of it and XY and I think when the other teams notice that and like that's kind of a problem. That's not good. And it's late in the season too. So I mean it was going to happen.
yeah,
Do you think one season though is enough time to really determine whether it's going to work or not with a coach?
I think so because
Mhm.
I think if I'm Coach McDonald and I am saying to the press conference, and Brock Hewitt was talking about this a few weeks ago, that he's very well calculated on things he says. Interviews, they're almost awkward with him because they'll
Mhm.
ask him a question and there's long pauses as if he's like making sure everything he says is right. Everything is calculated in his brain. So even I imagine he takes the same approach to football. Like
Mhm.
every decision I make has to be the right decision. And so when he's telling everybody all season, we wanted to run the ball more. We wanted to run the ball. And then you just see that for whatever reason, we ain't running the ball. And then the one game
Mm.
recently that we did run the ball, the first Arizona game, shit, Charbonnet runs for 130 plus yards, has a career game and one of the best games for the Seahawks rushing game in the season. And then we go right back to throwing the ball. It's just like, yeah, at some point I feel like just like you do with the linebackers, either going to do your job the way I need you to
Right.
do it, the way this scheme needs you to do it, or you can
Right.
do your job somewhere else. So I love that.
It'd be interesting to see their conversations that they've had all season long, to see what Mike said to him and to see if he actually took what he said into consideration or was just like, I'm just gonna do my own thing. I would like to see their
Yeah.
relationship too. That would
I,
have been
I
interesting.
got to give him his respect though. He was mad respectful though about it. He was being interviewed on the Brock and Salk show on ESPN 710 Seattle, and he was like, they were trying to get some info, very
Mhm.
discreetly asking him questions to see what he could leak out. But he was on it. He was sharp. He was like, it's a tough question, but I can't just answer that. Like those are conversations between me and Ryan Grubb.
Mm.
I'll keep between us. He's very, very classy about it. But in short, he's like, my vision for this offense, I just feel like the standard and vision I had for this offense, him and I weren't necessarily on the same page. So you're not on the same page, man. Apparently you're going to be on a completely different book. They could tear that page out and throw you in another book.
Right.
Period.
I mean it showed. It showed they weren't on the same page.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everybody saw it. So it'll be interesting to see who they get. Do you
Yeah.
have any idea of who it might be
No,
or
there's
like
no
yeah.
idea. There's no telling who it'd be. There's some people I might be interested in, but
Mhm.
like whoever it is, it has to be a game that complements the defense, meaning a run first, run the
Mhm.
ball, control the clock, and
Mhm.
keep your defense fresh. And I'm just like, Ryan Grubb just could not do that. It's like I felt like part of me felt like he knows how good he was as a college offensive coordinator.
Right.
And I'm like, Chip Kelly did this thing when he left Oregon to the Eagles. It was either my way or the highway. And he cut all these star players. Next thing you know, Shady McCoy was gone. Deshaun Jackson, like his
Ugh,
star players were like, what the heck? And it was like he wanted to prove that
yeah.
his way can make it. And I feel like Ryan Grubb, I don't know what was going on, but it looked like I was like, what is this guy trying to prove? Like, are you trying to show that
Mm.
your college style offense is gonna be successful for this team? And I just feel like when Mike, you were saying that Money Mike was saying on our thread that Grubb has been fired, I was like, good. The mother
Mhm.
freaking wasted this season for us. He wasted our running backs. Like, who knows if all of our running
Right.
backs are going to be here? We might trade away Kenneth Walker. We might trade away Zach Charbonnet. Like,
Mm.
God, like we had all these weapons, and I'm like, here we are sitting on the couches in the postseason, man. It's fucking terrible.
Do you think we had more weapons in the run game or the receiving game?
That's a great question. I think
Like,
I
let me
would
put it this
say,
way.
yeah.
Who if we were to get rid of people on receivers or running backs, who would you get rid of? Or do you think that if we got rid of running backs, our running game would be worse? I mean, XYZ, you know what I mean?
I would depend. So I'm not sure what you mean by get rid of. Like trade, maybe. Okay, let's see.
Like,
Who would
if
I trade?
like, do you think there's people in the running back that are more valuable than receivers? Like, if we were to get rid of a couple running backs?
I think so, and here's why:
Yeah.
because Jackson Smith and Jigba, we ain't getting rid of him.
No.
I would never entertain that.
No.
DK, I would dangle him as bait.
Hell
I
yeah.
would see what we can get for him in the trade market. I know there are some teams out there that are dire need of his skill set. But if you
Mhm.
look back historically, like looking at Tom Brady's teams, I mean, Julian Edelman was dope. Danny Wood, Amendola was dope. But I was like, these are all receivers that nobody would ever dream of paying, on another
Mhm.
team. You get a good solid running game, good old line, and a great quarterback, and you can make any receiver look good. Give him some time and keep the defense honest against your running backs. Yeah, you can. Like there's all these names. I can go through these Patriots names. Like who the hell are these guys? And they're winning Super Bowl rings. That's really what it's all
Right.
about. You know what I mean? So Danny Amendola, Julian Edelman, freaking Deion Branch. The only big name wide receiver that went through um, New England was Randy Moss. Like he was like
Mhm.
the real star name. Chad Johnson even went there. I don't know if you remember that, but he was barely there. You don't need Chad Johnson in New England. You need just guys
Right.
that fall in line. That's it. So I would
Right.
say we are, to answer your question, sorry, that's a very long answer, but the running backs by far. We have such talent on the running backs, and I'd rather do everything to compliment them first.
Mm.
If you do that, it makes everybody's life easier. O-line blocks well in the running game. We produce. Play action sets up for your quarterback and your receivers. Yeah, it's just, I mean, look back on when we had our Legion of Boom run. We had Marshawn,
Mm.
and then
Yep.
we had receivers that people would call pedestrian, like
Jermaine Kearse,
Ben
Doug
Curse, Doug
Baldwin.
Baldwin, Golden Tate, like people like who are
Mhm.
these guys? But they were phenomenal. But it was
Right.
we'd be lying if we said it wasn't because it was all set up from a solid run game. So
True. True. I mean, let's talk about Geno. He was 70.4% completion rate, 4,320 yards, 21 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, and he was sacked 50 times. Do we do we sign Geno? Resign Geno.
yes. Now here's why: is
Okay.
because one, I love Geno, and I'm gonna ride on
Mhm.
him to the end till the wheels fall off on that one. I don't think he's ever been the problem. You can't convince me otherwise. The O line made life a living hell for this guy.
Yeah.
Now, let's just play the game, though. Okay, I'm always open for change. I'm always open-minded for change. But in my opinion, if we're going to move on from Geno, you have to move on with somebody who's an upgrade, in my opinion. Like,
Right.
who would be an upgrade? Who's a quarterback out there in the market that you would consider an upgrade? Who's a rookie coming into this draft class that'll be available when it's our time in the first round that we could pick up?
Right.
In my opinion, there really isn't anybody that I can think of. And you asked me, what about Sam Darnold? Or Money Mike asked us, what about Sam Darnold? Would that trade make sense? Like picking up Sam Darnold potentially? I'm like, he's having a career game, a career season. I mean, but in my opinion, when push comes to shove, I don't feel like Sam Darnold's an upgrade. So
Right.
there's a
Yeah.
guy who has a great running back and a great O line and a freaking Aaron Jones is running back, and then he has great O line, and then you have Jay Jettas. It's like throw anybody in there at quarterback.
Right. And I
So
think too, I mean, I was going back and forth with it about Geno because obviously the season was the season, right? But now that Ryan Grubb is out, depending on who we have coming in, could change everything, right? And so, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see who we bring in and how it'll affect that decision as well, too, right? I mean, we don't know.
here's
But
what I want to do.
what do you
I
want to
want
do?
to pick up somebody. We're talking about DK. Do we trade DK Metcalf? We were talking about that, y'all,
Mm,
before we started recording. And Money Mike brought up a great point. Like he's just, who do you replace him with? Without him, like Tyler Lockett, I love Lockett, but he's on. Who knows if he'll even be here next year?
right.
Jackson Smith and Jigba is really the only star receiver we have. And I know I just got done saying we may not need stars, but to keep someone like DK with as freak of an athlete as he is, I don't think there's a more athletic receiver in the NFL than DK Metcalf. Now, that being said, I feel like it's clear as day for any viewer that he has some diva going on about him. And I'll say that
Right.
because it's just I'd be lying if I tried to say no, he doesn't. But in order to keep someone like that, like we were saying, can people like that change to fit the
Mm,
mold of a team? And at some point, I don't think like people truly can change. He's improved a lot since last season. Remember last season, he was like fights every game, like
fights in practice.
personal fouls, fights in practice.
Right.
The only thing that I'm hoping we pick up an offensive lineman who's like Max Unger, just a freaking
Mm,
beast. He was a genius center, so he'll kill you with his IQ, but he also physically beat your ass too.
right.
If you look at the Eagles, they have like Jordan Mailata at their left tackle, this big 6'7" Australian rugby player. Someone dude is like big teddy bear, but he'll probably fuck you up if you are like trying to be above the team.
Right.
Or when they had Jason Kelsey, he's that guy. Yeah, when he talks, you better fucking listen because he looks like he's gonna
Right.
punch you through your face. So we need somebody like that on our team, man. That's just like, okay, he's talking, we all better listen. Let me check myself. So
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Like you were the star in college, you're the star, you're that big, you're attractive. But at the same time, it's like you play for I don't know. My mindset's just different, I guess. But
what?
I'm
Come
just
on, say
saying, if
it.
you are that big, you are that fast, but you're not putting up numbers like that. Wouldn't you question yourself throughout the season? Be like, all right, what do I got to do to get better? I need to watch film. I need to be like, oh, I need to catch the ball with not my body. I need to catch the ball with my hands. I need to dive for the ball. I need to maybe run the route. And I need to finish the route. Like there's so many things that the little things that we can all see that he's not doing. And so I don't know. As an athlete, as a person, I would just be questioning myself and be like, okay, what do I got to do to be better? Or what do I got to do to get my team to the playoffs? It's
Mhm.
like, but yeah, it's just, I don't understand. But yeah, he's just a big guy. I feel like his time with the Seahawks has been great, but I feel like he hasn't performed and done anything incredible for us to like really keep him this long. And he's going to be asking probably for a ton of money. So we don't need to be doing that. We got
Yeah,
guys like JSN who hustle, who show effort, and you can completely see it on the field. It's so different. And
that's the thing when you're talking about like when DK is actually I mean, I'm not gonna say he's not showing effort. I can't say that, but when you see
right.
him like dialed in and in the zone, like he's
Mhm.
focused on having a hard fought, clean game. He's remember the Atlanta game? He's blocking the dude one hand
Right.
outside the sidelines, just killing that game. I mean, like
Right.
without the ball even touching his hands, you see him on the other side of the field, blocking through the
Mhm.
whistle, blocking his guy. Like, I love his effort. It's more so does the emotional.
Mm.
Do you think he's gonna mature enough to uh be able to check his emotions, you know what I'm saying? Because if you can't, that's gonna fuck your whole game up, straight
I
up, if
mean,
you can't keep your emotions up.
He hasn't showed it
That's
at all. I mean, he's just showed the complete opposite that he can't control it and that I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
that's
So,
a valid point. It's a valid point.
I wouldn't I don't know.
I guess back to your question about running backs or receivers, I would totally be like running backs first, but at the same time, just to taper off of that, like which running back are we keeping next year? Do you think that Kenneth Walker will be back and Zach Charbonnet will be back, or do you think the Seahawks might try to dangle one of them for some trade because you see they're both effective? And then guess who else
Right.
was balling out every time he touched the ball? Kenny McIntosh. So it's like you have
Right.
this three-headed monster. Do we keep him or do we try our hardest to leverage that O-line in the draft and maybe trade one of our stars to maybe draft a center or a guard and then trade somebody for another star center or guard? Then you have this freak O-line and
Right.
yeah.
Right, because like, we're talking too, because we don't know if Lockett's coming back, so then if we were to do something with DK, we would just have JSN, so That
Yep.
would be tough. That would be tough.
I'm looking at this last game. It sucks, to kind of before we start talking about defense. It's like
Mhm.
Geno had a great fucking game this last week. Granted, it was against the seconds, but like even if it sucks that no matter how well he does against a team like the Rams, where they're already in the playoffs and they're playing their backups, or any other game you could think back on where he was just lights out. It's just
Mhm.
completely overshadowed by, you know, the story of our offense. Just the fact that we're not running the ball to help him against the Chicago
Mhm.
Bears when it's raining in cold Chicago, and we're just trying to throw the ball, and it's like, dude,
It's just silly.
that's silly, man.
It's
Nobody's trying.
silly.
We talk about complimentary football. Can you guys compliment each other on offense? Like, you guys just
Right.
compliment each other first. That'll compliment the rest of the team. So, anyways,
I just wonder, like, what
interesting.
Mike McDonald is, like, thinking during all of these play calls too.
Mm,
You know what I
mm.
mean? Just sitting there at sideline or over there
I'll tell
standing
you
on the
what he's
sideline.
thinking. I'll tell you what he's thinking.
What is he thinking?
I'm about to cut this motherfucker right at the end of the season. Yeah. I'm
I'm
just gonna smile.
sure.
His ass is gone. I'm already making phone calls. Who's gonna
Well, it's Monday. They
Yeah.
just played yesterday, and he's already gone.
I know. Dude, it's that happens that fast. Usually, like, they have like exit meetings after players and coaches before they all leave for the till they're supposed to check in. And fuck, it's like they didn't even wait till they have the check-in meetings. It's like you're hey, this is it, man. So I love it. That means there's urgency there. We know
Right.
you're not the answer. We're not even going to play with it.
Mhm.
Let's get you out of here and let's figure out who the hell is going to replace you right away. So it's good. I'm happy they're on the market early, and see as people will come free. So
Right.
um,
Right.
I think the saddest part for me, other than the offense, is like all these defensive dudes that are about to be free agents, and a lot of
So
them
many.
aren't going to be back.
Right.
Jaron Reed, I love him to death. He's one of my favorite Seahawks that are still around since shit. He played with KJ, and it's like,
Yeah.
and now I don't know. I doubt he'll be back next year. The Seahawks are going to try
Right.
to always get younger and better. Who else is not going to be
Tomlinson.
there? Yeah.
Ernest Jones. Let's talk about Ernest Jones.
Oh, they're signing him. He's
Yeah.
gonna get his bag, man. He's gonna get that bag for sure.
Crazy.
It'd be crazy not to pay that man. So they're gonna pay him a good hefty. I love the fact that we're gonna keep him around. I'm trying to look for these names that we're looking at for NFL or defensive free agents. Artie Burns is back on the list again too. I'm like, just sign my man. I know he's 30, man, but every time he plays, he's showing up. I always get surprised I think I saw him released twice this year, or signed to the practice squad. I don't think Trey
What
Brown
a
will be here
roller
next
coaster.
year. Good Lord, Trey Brown. I don't think Farrell Brown will be here next year. See,
No.
I'm just sad about Jaron Reed and Jonathan
Right.
Hankins because I don't imagine them being here next year as good as they are. But yeah, we're gonna go after them young talent. And especially with the way Leo, because you're not going to keep Jaron Reed and Hankins and have,
Right.
Byron Murphy and Leo anchoring down the interior. So we'll see.
Leonard Williams, Seahawks defensive MVP.
Hands down.
Hands
There's
down.
no
Yeah.
doubt. Like this is not a Pro Bowl year. This is an all pro year for him. Like
Right.
it is. I would say this is, I remember watching him out of USC going to the Jets and then going from the Jets to the Giants. Like, I'm like, he's a stud. And I think this is actually probably his best career season he's had. Like,
Yeah.
he looks like a young, better version of the ones I remember watching him play in New York and, both the Jets and Giants. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
Spoon is like, if there's somebody I want to build my defense around, it's guys like Witherspoon, man. Holy
Yeah.
shit, that guy is I swear he's the closest thing to Earl Thomas that we've had since Earl
Right.
left.
Right.
I mean,
Like, and I I think watching Leonard Williams and watching Witherspoon
Mhm.
it was just fun watching them. I
Yeah,
think we would see the energy shift anytime they'd make a play. They're leaders on the field. They have fun playing. You can tell they're having so much fun.
yeah.
So it became just fun to watch them.
It's when you have guys at every level. So you have Leonard Williams holding it down the D line, Ernest Jones at the second level,
Mhm.
and then the secondary. You have freaking guys like Witherspoon and Julian Love flying around everywhere. And Julian Love, you may not see him all the time, but the dude had 106 tackles this year. Like he's
109.
everywhere. 109. There you go.
Yes.
Thank you.
3 interception. Like he was sneaky. He was a sneaky
They're
guy
quiet.
out there.
The quiet 109 tackles this year.
I love
Crazy.
it. I love it.
Now,
Kobe Bryant stepped up.
Kobe, pay the man, pay him. You know what? You know what's funny? In the preseason, I've said this multiple times. In the preseason, I said, watch out for Kobe Bryant this year. Why? Because the way he was playing in preseason, he was, this is gonna be my year to get on the map. And then Rayshawn Jenkins freaking got hurt, and then Kobe got plugged in every down. And then next, when Jenkins came back, he's in the starting rotation, and he's making plays. He's making plays, and so I didn't know they were going to keep him at safety because he's a natural safety. He's killing it. I thought they might try to segue him back into the corner spot, which I would totally be open to because Reek Willen's another conversation right there. I'm like, do we keep him? Do we trade bait him? I don't know, man. I mean, you saw him get trucked and he was out the rest of the game. I was like, teams pick on him and then he just gets truck stick. Come on, man. He is a freak, so talented, but I'm just like, I personally feel like I'm ready to see who next man up at this point over there. He got beat way too much. And in my opinion, I feel like he personally lost a couple games, in my opinion. Like there were plays where we needed him, that Pro Bowl rookie that came out just balling. We needed him to be that Tariq Willen, that young Tariq Willen. And I was like, yo, how do you get burned? You ran a 4.2 40 time. Like, how do you get beat deep? You should never. This is not. Yeah, a couple plays. Yeah.
Yeah, he was very inconsistent and definitely cost us a lot of games. We talked about him a lot this past season, and
we
were over him.
If there's somebody else that's gonna Mike McDonald that I'm like, who's the next man up on the top him on the guillotine? It might fucking be Tariq Willen, man.
I think so too.
I can't think of one player on defense that Mike's gonna be like, I'm gonna replace. I'm gonna cut this motherfucker. Like he just cost us. What game was it? Was it the Rams game where it was over? Was it overtime with the Rams the first time we played them? And then that one time he could have had an interception overtime, he just stood there and the receiver caught his face and jumped and caught the ball. Right. And then he got beat deep. It was the Rams. The first time we played them, I was like, what are you doing? What the fuck?
Definitely one of
even the Vikings game. That was a close game. And then Justin Jefferson gets behind him on that last touchdown where we took the lead and then Jay Jettas took it back
we could have, we should have won that game.
You know what? The more I talk about it, the more I'm ready to move on from his ass.
We could have been a 12 win. Just kidding. I mean, all right.
Yeah, 12 wins. Right. And if we 12 wins, maybe even a 13 win if we win that Giants game too. Fuck.
Crazy. Well, the season was the season. It was definitely an emotional roller coaster. Stress, sweat, emotions. We learned a lot. Hopefully we learned a lot. For the teams that are in the playoffs right now, how are we feeling about Russell Wilson and the Steelers being in the playoffs right now?
Man.
Can I just say, sorry, I did ask you a question and I just cut you off, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
So my dad and I were driving back down from Seattle back to San Francisco, and we totally forgot there were Saturday games. And I was like, "Oh, check the Bengals. When are the Bengals playing?" And I assumed it was Sunday. I was like, "Is it at 10 a.m.?" He's like, "No, they're playing now." And I was like, "What?" So he turned it on. We listened, or my dad watched as I drove. But Russell Wilson was being the Russell Wilson that we know to be Russell Wilson. My dad was like, "When
Wait,
I start
you talking
cheering for
about good
him."
Russell Wilson or bad Russell Wilson
The
when he
bad
started
Russell
out?
Wilson. The bad
Oh,
Russell Wilson.
no,
He
oh, no.
started to become the bad Russell Wilson, and my dad, being the Seahawks fan he is, he's like, "I just started rooting for him and cheering for Russ, but every time I do that, I get disappointed." Because he starts doing the Russell things that he did, the bad Russell things, I should say.
That's see, kudos to your dad though, man, because
Yeah.
he keeps doing it. That's the downside of being a sports fan, period.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
you pour your heart and your emotions into certain teams, certain sports, certain players, and there's bound to be heartbreak here and there. Like the fact that I'm sitting here licking my wounds on that we're not in the playoffs, but you know what though? Perspective, I actually think we are the best. Like, I'm not even capping. I'm not just gassing this because it's the Seahawks, and I'm just plastered with Seahawks stuff right now.
Right.
I think we are truly the best team that's not in the playoffs right now. And that is a first year coach, first year, a rookie head coach at that, not just the first year Seahawks coach. He's a rookie head coach.
Right.
you know, and he's doing things that I was like, I wish Pete Carroll, in my opinion, will always be my favorite coach of all time, one of my favorite coaches of all time. But he's doing shit that I was just like, why can't
Right.
Pete Carroll do this and that? It's like,
Mhm, mhm.
and he's doing that stuff. So it's all just being grateful, and instead of
Right.
just pouting that we're not in the playoffs right now, I'm like, I actually got something to look forward to. So all that to say, it's your dad. I love that he keeps coming in and cheering for his guys, even though they'll just keep letting us down.
Okay, question. Who do you think is gonna be in the Super Bowl?
Chiefs and Chiefs and Detroit. I'd say
Lions, yeah.
Detroit. Yeah. I just
Yeah. I definitely think Lions too. I don't want Chiefs. I don't.
I can't every
Don't want
time every time I say like, oh, this will be the year Tom Brady gets knocked out the playoffs, he ain't going to the Super Bowl. He just keeps winning, even no matter how lackluster the rosters may be from year to year.
Yeah.
It's like they don't have they don't have Cheetah no more. Patty Mahomes doesn't have Tariq Hill no more, and boom, they won the next Super Bowl right after that. It's like
Right.
him and Andy Reid are just winners, and so yeah,
Okay, well then
there's nobody in the AFC that's actually like, am I
Ravens?
convinced? Ravens have
Buffalo?
choked in the postseason. Buffalo's choked in the postseason, and it
I'm
seems
in
like the Chiefs have their card all the time. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm just
I'm gonna say a random team.
in the AFC.
Chargers.
You know what? I'm going for the Chargers.
Let's go Chargers.
Harbaugh, I'm cheering for fucking Harbaugh right now.
Let's go.
Come on,
Let's go
man.
Chargers.
Yeah, come on, Herbert. Let's go, bro. I need Herbert to do his thing. I need Harbaugh to do his thing right now, man. I'm cheering for the Chargers. I'm gonna be
Let's go
like
Chargers.
Sherman. I'm gonna this episode I'm gonna wear my Seahawks gear, and then next week let's randomly record some shit, and I'll have some Charger gear on for
Please do. Please do. Please do. Oh my God. What a season. It was so fun to just talk football and to talk Seahawks.
It is. It
Can't
is.
wait to do this next year. Sad the season's over, but I'm excited to see what happens with the Seahawks and who we bring in as the new OC.
Yeah. Now, are you if the Chargers go and the Lions go, who you cheering for that game?
Probably the Chargers.
I'm going for the Lions. I'm pulling for the
Oh,
Lions all the rest of the postseason just because.
actually, I do love the Lions coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the city of Detroit needs it.
They need it. They deserve it. They've been
Yeah.
They have
Okay.
been the
You're
bottom of the
persuading me.
barrel since I was a kid. You know, the
persuasive.
Browns, yeah, they need this. You know, this one's I'm going all out for Detroit this postseason. So
Eminem will, be happy.
yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to see the moves, man. The moves that we make, I'm excited to pick up again next season, and you know, we'll venture out and see what else we could add onto this show. We've been grateful to have every single one of you. You know, the all day group chat family being part of this all season, and the loyals. I love seeing the names that of the same people every week, the comments from the same people. I love talking shit back and forth to some of you guys too. You know, it's all love at the end of the day, though. So,
and I just like it. I'm just like, yeah.
I love talking sports too. Yeah, yeah. You just like the comments. God, don't be scared, Alex. Man, come on. We gotta
I'm not
stand on
scared. I'm
business,
like,
man.
people are allowed to have their opinions, and they can tell us what they think about us, and it's okay.
Yeah, and I'm gonna
just
tell you what I think about you too. So it's all good. You have permission to come talk shit on my comments.
You do, and that's why, we're a great team. I just let you handle the business, and I'm just out here for support too,
Yeah, I gotta find out who's the name that's always like, I'm just here to watch Alex like hella times. I'm like, fuck you, man. What about me? No, I'm kidding.
Shout out. Anyways, amazing season. Looking forward to next year. Thank you, Josiah. Thank you to everybody who watched and liked and commented and shared. Please keep doing that, because without you, there won't be us. So
Appreciate
we
you.
love you. Yes.
Guys.
Until next time.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Take care, y'all.